Tonight on Red Hawk News, the growing impact on social media and students and schools.
Moreover, the debate over cell phones in classrooms continues as students and teachers weigh in.
We'll hear live reactions from around campus later in the show.
And for sports, we recap a strong year for Red Hawk athletics.
Weather has your forecast as we head to summer break.
Red Hawk News starts now.
Good afternoon and welcome to Red Hawk News. I'm Miguel Guillen.
And I'm Owen Hosking. Thanks for joining us today.
Our top story tonight focuses on the growing influence of social media on students both inside and outside the classroom.
From screen time to online trends, many are asking how social media is shaping student life. Here's more in our first package.
Large social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, X, and TikTok have billions of users across the globe.
In our tech lead, Australia is now the first country in the world to ban social media for kids under the age of 16.
They're moving to regulate social media use among children and teens.
The way we interact with social media might be changing forever.
Social media has been a pivotal part of our development as a society. The real question is, has it affected us for better or for worse? Today we take the time to interview members of our community to see what their stance on the matter is.
I think that social media does affect students' focus in class. Social media is inherently made for engagement, immediate dopamine satisfaction, and I think it affects students' focus, and I know that it also affects adults' focus.
Student focus in class is affected by social media in the sense that it can be distracting, or it can be something for a student to be constantly thinking about if they're hyper-focused on it. But at the same time, I don't see it any more distracting than when I really wanted to read a book as a kid and not do anything in class.
I would say that over the years, the changes from social media I've noticed is that students can tend to be a bit having a harder time focusing. More importantly, having a harder time like valuing things that aren't immediately engaging, things like history, math, just stuff that's sort of hard, that takes a grind to get good at. Students have, they struggle to have an appetite for that sometimes, but I think also that appetite is natural and that they still do desire to be challenged in school.
Over the years, I've noticed a lot of changes in social media. I started social media when you still had to have a college email in order to even sign up because it was only for college kids. So having so many young kids on, it does have a big impact in the sense of their development. You can see the difference between the kids who are on social media early because they tend to go for more adult topics. And if they are not on social media, they tend to still cling to the Minecraft and the Roblox.
I would say schools should absolutely limit phone usage, social media. I think that anyone who's on phone, social media a lot knows that it's really hard to get off. It's hard for adults too. And when you have an experience where just like everyone's off, usually it can be a bit uncomfortable initially, but ultimately people tend to feel good from it. So I love the idea of school being a place where we can all just pause from those distractions in life.
Schools should limit phone usage to a degree. I think that we are training students to become good adults and good human beings, and part of that is teaching them how to have self-control and when to have their phone and when not to have their phone.
Students probably do communicate differently because of social media. I would say though that there's always been, in high schools, there's always been a difference between how the students speak and how like the adults speak.
Social media has undoubtedly been an important tool and asset to our nation. Today we had asked members of our community whether it has caused more harm than good. Take what you have heard today into account. I'm Noah Gerke. Back to you.
Social media continues to play a major role in how students communicate and stay informed.
Another topic schools across the country are debating is cell phone use during class time.
Some believe phones are helpful learning tools, while others say they create distractions that hurt student focus.
We spoke with students and staff whether cell phones belong in the classroom.
At Cedar Springs High School, students now put their phones in the phone caddy during the school day as a part of a stricter phone policy designed to reduce distractions and improve focus.
When phones were allowed in the classroom, students would be always looking at their phones or trying to hide looking at their phones and never paying attention in class. So I think it's a good thing that phones have been taken away or they're put in the garage, because at least now they're not looking at their phones and not getting texts and notifications and things like that. So they're actually paying attention. So personal skills about communication has really gone downhill because all they do is text and Snapchat and everything else like that. And so they don't know how to communicate like verbally with somebody.
Across schools, phone use has become one of the most debated issues in education. Students say phones help them stay connected, while teachers say they are becoming a major distraction.
I feel like I do need my phone on me at all times in extreme conditions. For example, if you needed to call someone or a loved one died, you'd rather have it personal and not go through between people.
I think it's kind of a useless rule because we're all high schoolers and I feel like we're responsible enough to handle our own phones.
I would say phones do not help or hurt. I think it's a responsibility, so you can use it for harm, but other circumstances it could be used for good.
I think it depends on the person because sometimes like people can use their phones in a good way to help their learning, like to look things up that might be blocked on their Chromebooks, but then other people may just doom scroll.
Beyond academics, experts say phone use may also be affecting mental health.
Some signs of unhealthy phone habits that I see in students and adults are the need to escape. That escape, I think it shortens our focus overall. It allows like that avoidance. Like I'm gonna avoid hanging in there in the moment. And as a mental health professional, I know that the more I avoid something, that's gonna end in learned helplessness because my brain is gonna reward me for escaping that like hard moment. The time it takes you to get your attention back, that's what I've noticed in myself, and I think I've noticed in students, like their ability to maintain and like retain attention is slowly decreasing. Social media impacts not only student mental health, but adult mental health, everybody's mental health, and it doesn't have to be in a bad way. But the way that I've seen it for my peers and for students is that the curated reality is really impacting self-esteem. Like if we can't fully stay away from it, we at least have times and like hours in our day that our phone is off and our brain is off from being aware of our phone.
As schools continue adjusting their policies, one question remains: are cell phones powerful learning tools or habits that are becoming harder to control?
The conversation around cell phone policies has sparked strong opinions across campus.
Our field reporter joins us live with more on how students are reacting. Olora?
Thank you, Owen and Miguel. As technology is continuing to constantly evolve, more that technology gets banned in schools. For instance, currently cell phones are being banned in schools by students having to put their phones in cell phone garages. And opinions on the banning of cell phones in schools are definitely mixed because people feel like they should be assets versus distractions.
What do you mean these opinions are mixed?
As I just said, so I guess students feel like their cell phones can be used as more as assets versus how a lot of teachers see them more as distractions. So students see the banning as a bad thing, but teachers see it as a positive thing.
Can you give us an example of how students see cell phones as assets?
Students see cell phones as assets as like when they need to be in contact with a family member, they have access to having it directly and like straight to them, more intimate and more privately versus having to go through the school. So they feel like it's an asset to be able to have it on them at all the time. And we heard that in the previous interview of William Dickinson speaking about it.
That's interesting. How many teachers view that differently?
Teachers may view that differently because they just feel that students are paying more attention to their phones when they have them on them. And Scott Modersher talked about how when students were allowed to have their cell phones in class, he felt that they were paying more attention to their cell phones than they were to his lessons. Well, if anything is clear, it's that technology is not going away anytime soon, and so it's going to continue to evolve, and school will have to adapt as that continues. Thank you. I'm field reporter Laura Morales. Back to you, Owen and Miguel.
Thank you, Laura.
Now let's head over to sports for a look at what's happening with Red Hawk Athletics. Emery?
Thanks, Owen and Miguel. As another school year ends, Red Hawk Athletics wrapped up in another exciting spring sports season, filled with strong performances and multiple successes across many of our programs. Let's take a look back at how our teams performed this season. Baseball and softball both had exciting moments this spring, with the girls picking up a conference title and the boys battling through a strong conference. Boys golf continued building momentum as the program grew, while girls tennis represented Cedar Springs with consistency and determination all season long. Boys and girls track and field continued their strong tradition this season. Our boys team were the regional champs, while multiple athletes on the boys and the girls team qualified for the state meet. Girls soccer battled through a competitive schedule while continuing to show growth and teamwork throughout the season, making it all the way to the district finals. Congratulations to all of our student athletes and our coaches on another successful spring season. Of course, athletics are much more about scores and standings. For many students, being involved in sports helps build leadership, confidence, and life skills that extend far beyond competition. Our next piece takes a closer look at Red Hawk football as the team prepares for the upcoming season. We sat down with our head football coach, Gus Kapulka, to talk about the expectations for a year ahead. We also heard from several players about what football means to them and how the team is getting ready for another exciting season.
What does football mean to me? Football means a lot to me. I've been playing it since I was, in first grade, starting off with flag football. I feel like it's taught me, how to live life, how to be a man. Definitely how to work hard, because you got to keep the grades up, and then you got to go out on Friday night and also perform good. I think the team's culture is good. We've been playing together for a very long time. We got most people returning next year. I think we all get along pretty good too, so good team chemistry.
I think it's strong. Leadership is a tricky thing. Teenage boys are not inherently built as leaders. I think it's a skill that can be developed, and it's not necessarily inherent in everyone, but I do think it can be developed. I never put a win total on it. My goal is always I want to make us the best version of ourselves and try to make our team as good as it can be. My expectations are high, but like I said, I don't put a win total on that. I think that we have the opportunity to be a pretty good football team with the guys that we have returning. We have a lot of experience. We have a lot of guys that have kind of been through the wars. So my expectations, I think, are pretty high. Well, I think our mindset is we have some unfinished business. The number 2 is going to play a big part in a lot of the things that we do in our preparation for games this year. That we were not very good in that playoff game in 2-minute situation, both at the end of the first half and the second half. That we lost the game by 2 on a field goal, and that we did not play our best game on that particular night against a team that I feel like we were better than. And we've got to, I think, go out and redeem ourselves.
I'm really excited for this next season to see what our upcoming juniors will have to offer and to see how we'll just do as a team, especially with the newer kids, newer generation. I think our leadership is really good. I think we have guys that aren't afraid to step up, and they like to lead, and they're good athletes. I feel like this upcoming season we need to at least win a playoff game, hopefully make it to the playoffs, and I feel like a main goal is just to win a playoff game.
This is CSTV. Tell Austin. Signing out.
As spring sports wrap up, preparations are already beginning for the fall season. Fall tryouts will take place later this summer, and athletes planning to participate should make sure physicals and required forms are completed before the first day of tryouts. Football, volleyball, boys soccer, cross country, girls golf, cheer, and tennis will all begin preparing for another exciting year of Red Hawk athletics. Strength and conditioning workouts with Coach Ash will also continue throughout the summer, helping athletes stay active and further prepare for the upcoming fall seasons. Be sure to check with coaches throughout the summer for official dates, times, and updates. That's all for Cedar Springs TV. I'm Emery Smith. Let's send it back to the anchors.
Thanks, Emery.
Schools are much more than homeworks and tests. For many students, they provide opportunities for growth, friendships, and preparations for the future.
Our next story takes a closer look at the purpose of schools and the impact they have on students every day.
Math, English, science, history. For years, these have been the foundation of school. But in today's world, are these really the skills that students need most? The question we're going to be covering today is, what's the real purpose of school? Mastering core subjects or learning real-life skills? Hello, I am Isaac Brown reporting from CSTV, and today we're going to be interviewing a student and a teacher to see what they think the true purpose of schooling is.
I feel that some classes in school prepare for life outside of school. Like AP World teaches you a lot of helpful writing skills, and classes like Health and Adult Life both prepare you for adulthood. I definitely think schools should teach more life skills outside of school, because that's what you're going to be doing for your entire life. I think it's kind of preparing you for life skills, but it's mostly academics. I think that we spend a lot more time talking about academia than life skills. How to write short letters like emails, how to get better at writing, how to synthesize information. I think that if they had to prioritize one, I'd say they should prioritize life skills.
That was a student perspective. Now to a teacher at Cedar Springs High School.
The purpose of school is just to prepare students for their future. The schooling process of being able to prepare students for core academic knowledge is really just preparing their brains for future learning. I think that you get a blend of both in classes. Obviously, the more life skills type applications that students can take within the school system is optimal for them. But obviously, there's a higher degree of pure academic knowledge that has to be taught and learned throughout the course of your normal high school experience. The standards are more designed towards ensuring that that core academic knowledge is being gained. The biggest challenge is that there's not as much money allocated towards life skills type classes. The mandates of state testing and the rigors that are expected for every student are not setting up all kids for success in their future. We're trying to fit every student into the same hole, and it hasn't worked. It's not working.
The question we shouldn't be asking is, what's the purpose of school? Rather, we should ask whether schools can effectively teach life skills and academics at the same time. Isaac Brown, Cedar Springs High School.
Education continues to shape students, both inside and outside the classroom.
And now, let's check in with the weather to see what's ahead this week.
Thank you, Owen and Miguel. Let's take a look at the radar. As we can clearly see, it's going to be very clear. Not really much going on. The Grand Rapids area is going to be pretty clear, along with most of Michigan. Let's take a look at the forecast. As we look, we see it's 73 in Ionia, pretty mid 70s in lower Michigan, but as we go up over here in this area, it's getting a little bit colder. Higher in Michigan, we have 73 in Ludington, 76 in Hart, as long as 72 in Fremont and Big Rapids. Mid-Michigan is looking to be pretty warm, so it should be a pretty good summer. Let's go to the next one. Wednesday is going to be a high of 81 with doesn't seem to have a low. Thursday is going to be a low of 56 and a high of 83. Friday is going to be a low of 60, a high of 84. This weekend's looking to be pretty warm with a low of 61 and a high of 82, with Sunday being a low of 63 and a high of 83. Monday and Tuesday are going to be a low of 62 with a high of 83. I'm Draven Alexander with CSTV News Weather. Back to you, Ono Miguel.
Thanks, Draven.
That's all for today's edition of Red Hawk News.
Be sure to follow us for more updates and student stories throughout the year.
For everyone here at Red Hawk News, thanks for watching. It's a great
summer to be a Red Hawk.